hair.
How did her nose get broken, Miss Reyes? You did, in fact, punch her.
This is Judge Judy. Kimberly Richter is suing her former friend, Carrie Reyes, for breaking her nose during an argument at Kimberly's home.
Judge, this is case number 7 on the calendar in the matter of Richter versus Reyes. Parties have been sworn in.
Miss Richter, I understand that you and your husband and the defendant and her husband had been friends.
Correct.
And prior to November of 2019, how long had you known each other?
I've known Miss Reyes for about 15 years.
On November 25th, you and your husband, the defendant and her husband, were spending an evening together at whose home?
My house.
Who else was present?
It was Carrie, myself, my 2 daughters, my husband, Mark, and later that evening, Raul, her boyfriend, husband, showed up.
Had you had dinner?
No, we were just hanging out by the pool. We were having a few glasses of wine, having a good night.
Had all of you been drinking?
Yes, the adults.
Except, of course, the children.
Of course.
I see you. Put your hand down. It is your claim that on that evening, an altercation ensued with you and Miss Reyes. And as a result of that, your nose was broken.
Yes.
You want her to be for the pain and suffering that you had as a result of her assaulting you. Miss Reyes, in her answer, while she acknowledges, I believe, Miss Reyes, that you did, in fact, punch her, you indicated that it was a result of her aggression and you were acting in self-defense.
Correct, Your
Honor.
Honor.
Have that right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Miss Reyes, you put your hand up before when Miss Richter was telling me that the group of you had been drinking. I'm not talking about getting sloppy drunk. I'm talking about that you had been having wine and hanging out at the pool for several hours before your husband arrived. Would that be accurate?
No, Your Honor.
How long had you been there before your husband arrived?
I would say about an hour, hour and a half.
At what time did you arrive?
Late afternoon, I would say, around 4 or 5 p.m. And my husband arrived around, I would say, 6:37.
Okay. And prior to your husband arriving, there were no incidents. Is that right?
No, Your Honor. Everything was
Good.
fine.
Miss Richter, approximately what time in the evening did this assault take place?
7:30, 7:45. It was just before the sunset.
All right, now in your own words, I'd like you to tell me what happened.
Carrie and I, we were having a few drinks, and we were discussing throughout the day how she believes her husband, boyfriend, is cheating on her, and she thinks he's doing drugs. And I'm like, well, Carrie, you know, where's your house? I think Raul's cheating on me. I think he's doing drugs. I found this in the bathroom. There's needles missing. There was a needle there the other day. She would come over with these weird accusations.
What do you mean that there were needles? Stop.
Sure.
What do you mean when you said there were needles missing?
She told me that he was using steroids or something to boost his, whatever you use steroids for.
Muscles or whatever.
So I think that was why.
Your manliness, I guess. I don't know.
It's been a while.
Okay. So you were having discussions with her about personal matters before he arrived.
Prior to him arriving, yes.
And he arrived at about 6 o'clock. And this incident happened, according to you, about 7:45. So he was there for a little bit before it happened.
Correct.
All right. Keep going.
So we moved to the garage because Raul showed up and my husband was in the garage. Well, Raul showed up and my husband offered him a beer. So him and Raul were in the garage having a few beers while me and Carrie were out back. Well, we kind of wandered around to the garage area, and for whatever reason, my husband got up. I guess he was going in the house to watch TV or something. Well, it was me, Carrie, and Raul that were left in the garage. Raul had a beer. Carrie and I, you know, we were out there having a cigarette, talking with Raul, and the discussion of Raul being on drugs came up. So we started talking about...
Who broached that subject?
I think it might have been me. It was so long ago that Carrie and I were talking about this.
It wasn't even a year ago. It was 10 months ago. How many times have you had your nose broken?
Once in my life.
Okay, so I would remember that, even though it was 10 months ago.
Well,
remember what happened.
The exact context of why that got brought up, I don't clearly remember that, but I can tell you what followed.
Okay, tell me what followed.
We had the discussion about Raul doing drugs, and Raul clearly stated, I'm not on drugs. And then I said, you know what, guys? I got up, I walked in my house, I came back out, I had a drug test. I have a 14-panel drug test that I purchased because my husband has employees, and we just use it to kind of, you know, keep them straight and scare them a little bit. You know, we're going to give you a drug test if we think anything's going on in the job. So I had this 14-panel drug test, and I go, here, I have a drug test. And Raul's saying Carrie's on drugs, and Carrie's saying Raul's on drugs. They're going back and forth with each other. And I'm like, well, here's a solution, Carrie. here's a drug test. And I kind of, after this point, you know, after looking at Raul and looking at Carrie and all the things that she's done and said coming to my house prior to these events with her paranoia and all that, kind of had the inclination that she might be doing something. So I suggested she take the drug test. She did not tell me yes. She did not tell me no. I was asking Carrie to take the drug test because I was kind of under the assumption that Raul wasn't really on drugs. And I'm like, no, Raul, I want Carrie to.
So he said, I'll take the drug test.
Yes.
Great. Got it.
So I said, no, Raul, I would like Carrie to take the drug test. I never got a yes out of Carrie. I never got a no out of Carrie. And so this went on for a few minutes, and I kind of got tired of it because it wasn't going anywhere. And I didn't want Raul to take the test because it would have been a waste. I didn't think he was on drugs. So I walked in my home, and Carrie comes in following me. And all I remember, she got me from behind. She totally caught me off guard and started wailing on me, just started punching me, didn't say anything. I'm screaming at her to get out of my house at this point because there's absolutely no reason for you to follow me into my home and start hitting me. And at some point, she picked up my candle holder, which was on my coffee table in the front living room, and broke it over my head. And I'm still screaming at her to get out of my house. My kids are like at the staircase. They see the whole thing, or my oldest did. I'm bleeding, and I'm telling my youngest, because she's coming down the stairs, go get me a tissue, go get me a napkin, something so I can stop, you know, this.
You were bleeding from your nose or from your head?
I was bleeding from my nose.
Okay. And at that point, had you been hit in your nose?
Yes.
Did she finally leave?
My oldest daughter came up and grabbed her hand and told her, Carrie, you need to leave, because I kept screaming at her that she needs to leave. Get out of my house.
Did she?
When my daughter grabbed her hand and told her to leave, yes, she did, finally.
Did you go to the hospital that night?
I did not go to the hospital that night because I was concerned about me not having health insurance.
No, tell me why. When did you go to either the doctor or the hospital?
The following morning.
Okay, so now I'd like to see the police report.
Sure. Not hard to read. It's a carbon copy.
Okay, let's take a look. Okay, and do you have the medical report indicating that you went to the... Was it an emergency room that you went to?
Yes, I went to the ER.
Okay, may I see that report, please?
Sure. It's 8 pages. Here's the first page.
I'd like to see the one with the diagnosis.
Sure. Right here?
Okay, got it. Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Reyes.
Yes, Your
Your
Honor.
version. We're about 7:45 at night on November 25th. Your husband had arrived at about 6, according to you. You had had a lovely afternoon chatting with your friend. Husband arrives. He's in the garage with the plaintiff's husband. You gals sort of find your way to the garage. Pick it up from there.
From that point, her husband had gone inside, laid down on the couch. The three of us were out in the garage, and the conversation came up, like she said, about drugs. It then evolved into, well, why are you just have sex, is what she said. And I said, because I don't want to have sex with him. And she, in turn, turned around and said, well, if you're not going to, I'll have sex with him. So I got upset. She saw that I was upset and she started laughing. She said, I'm just kidding. Kim has a history of alcoholism. She's...
Don't tell me history. Don't tell me history. Just tell me what happened.
Okay.
So that's what she said to you.
Correct.
And she laughed. You
Correct,
didn't think
Your
it was fun. Come on.
So I went inside the house. Raul and her were still out in the garage. I went up to her husband, lying on the couch, and I explained to him what had happened.
No. Just tell me what you said to him.
I told him, I said, Kim...
You said, did you tell him what you just told me?
Correct, Your Honor.
And then?
And then from that point, he stood up and he said, I'm going to go see what's going on. I said, let it be, let them come in.
No.
So they came inside and Mark turned to Raul and said, Raul, is that true what Carrie just told me? Raul said, yes. Yes, Mark, that's true. That's when Kim got upset. She said, get out of my house. I ride horses. I was wearing only my socks. My horse boots, my cowboy boots were outside in her backyard. So proceed to go outside, and she pushed me. And when she pushed me, I slipped on the tile that she has in her house. And when I went to stand up, she pulled me by my hair.
You were inside or outside when I pushed you? Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When she pushed you down, did you end up on your face or on your back?
On my knees. She was in front of me and she pushed me forward.
And then you fell on your knees? That doesn't make sense to me, Ms. Reyes.
Kimberly Richter says former friend Carrie Reyes attacked her and broke her nose after she asked Carrie to take a drug test.
All right, keep going.
I have pictures, which I also sent to the detective that was assigned to the case or the report that she had made.
Okay, the police came to your house.
The police never came to my house.
Or did you go to...
No.
Well, you spoke to a detective. Was that on the phone?
Yes, so I received a letter in the mail saying that there was a report of an alleged incident that occurred on November 25th for me to contact.
Okay, and when did you receive that letter?
I would say about 2 weeks after the incident.
Between November 25th, when this incident letter, had you seen a doctor?
No, I had not.
Had you seen a doctor?
No,
Had
Your
you
Honor.
been to an emergency room?
No, Your
Okay.
Honor.
And had you made a police report?
No, Your Honor.
So now she pushed you and you
pushed-
fell.
Correct. And then she grabbed me by my hair. I have photocopies of my hair being ripped out.
And when did you take that photograph?
The same day. And that was sent to the detective. And I also brought copies if you'd like to see them as well.
Oh, I absolutely would. Is that the only photograph that you have?
It is, Your Honor.
Now, she pushed you down. When she pushed you down, did you end up on your face or on your back?
I was on my knees, so when I fell, I was able to I fell to my knees, and
She
then
pushed you when you fell to your knees, and she
Correct,
was
Your Honor.
behind you.
She was in front of me, and she
how could she
pushed me forward.
I thought you were leaving.
I was leaving.
I thought you were on your way out, and she pushed you.
Correct.
And you mean she ran around you and pushed you the other way?
No, I was headed towards her back.
And then you fell on your knees? That doesn't make sense to me, Miss Reyes.
I was inside the home, walking to her back door. And as I was walking by, she pushed me. She was in front.
And she was in front of you. Well,
Correct.
she's in front of you and pushed you down. You fall backwards, not to your knees.
Well, I was not all the way down. I wasn't flat. I would say, like, on my butt or on
How
my...
did her nose get broken? How did her nose get broken, Miss Reyes?
So when she had pushed me down, she had grabbed my hair. And in the process of when she grabbed my hair, I could not get her off of me. And so I started flailing my arms to have her let go. And I was defending myself. She's done this to me in the past, has hit me previously in front of her daughter.
What prompted you? I'm curious. Now, you've all had several glasses of wine. Your husband has had a beer or two. Her husband, he was having a beer or two.
Correct.
He went inside to lie down. What prompted you, other than being a little bit happy, to go inside and tell him that his wife's suggestion to healing your domestic situation was to have sex?
Your
And
Honor.
You said, no, I don't want to. So she said, if you don't want to, I will. And then you went inside to tell her husband what she had said,
Correct,
leaving
Your
her outside with your husband. I'm just curious as to what to do.
I wanted him to know the type of person that she is.
Okay, it's ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You were complaining about him
Correct.
using drugs. Otherwise, you mean just out of nowhere? She says, how about taking a drug test? I mean, I've had gatherings at my house. We don't do that with regularity.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kimberly Richter has accused former friend Carrie Reyes of attacking her and breaking her nose during an argument.
Now, what was the medical bill that you were charged by the emergency room?
So the total of the medical bills is $3,778.
Okay, Tabitha, would you stand up, please? Move closer to your mom. How old are you, Tabitha?
I am 14.
Were you there when the incident began?
When Carrie pushed my mom and then it all started, yes.
Tell me what you saw.
Right before I saw it, I heard arguing, and as soon as I came downstairs, I stood by the gate, and then I see Carrie and my mom. My mom's walking backwards, and Carrie's walking forwards. And then Carrie pushed my mom, and my mom almost fell, and then they started fighting. And my mom said to get out, and they were both flinging arms at each other, telling them hair. Carrie was pulling my mom's hair, actually, because I remember my mom's hair being a mess after. and then Carrie pushed my mom. My mom slipped, and then as Carrie is on top of my mom, she grabs the glass case around the candle and hits my mom against the head. That's when I pull Carrie and tell her to get out.
So what you are describing to me is a fight between your mom and Carrie.
Yeah.
And then you saw Carrie pick up an object and hit your mother with it.
Yes.
Did you see where she hit your mother?
Right over the head. It all went by so fast, so I'm really trying to remember all of it by detail. But I do remember her grabbing it with her left hand and hitting my mom against the head. And then as soon as all the pieces fell on the floor, it shattered everywhere.
Tabitha, you've been helpful to me. When you say you couldn't hear what they were saying, do you remember how long they had been in the house before the fighting started?
Barely a few minutes, like less than 10 minutes.
And did you see where your father was?
Stepfather, and no.
But your stepfather you didn't see in the room?
Not till the very end after I pulled Carrie and told her to go away.
And then you saw him. Where was he?
I think he came out of the...
You could sit down. Thank you very much. Is this your husband?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you step up, please? What's your last name?
Labiega.
Mr. Labiega, are you and the defendant married or just a couple?
We're married.
When were you married?
We're married on April.
Of what year?
This year.
I'm not asking. I'm not talking to you. Do you understand, Miss Reyes?
Sorry, Your
I'm not
Honor.
talking to you. Say nothing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, Mr. Labiega, do you remember November 25th of last year?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember agreeing to take a drug test?
Yes.
So when Miss Richter said to you, will you take a drug test?
I said no problem.
You said no problem.
Yes.
At the same time, did she ask your wife to take a drug test?
Yes.
And did your wife agree to take a drug test?
I don't think she said anything.
But Miss Richter asked her to take a drug test.
Yes, she did.
Okay, very good. Now you can sit down. Okay. You told me, Miss Reyes, clearly your husband wasn't paying attention to all the testimony. Okay.
Your Honor, not only did that situation happen regarding the drug conversation, we had been out in the garage, Your Honor, for at least 30, 45 minutes.
How come you didn't tell me? Yes, that happened.
Your Honor, the reason I did not mention the whole drug conversation that occurred in the garage was because I felt it was irrelevant. The whole purpose and the whole reason...
It wasn't irrelevant. It's her whole case, madam. Listen to me carefully. She says that you were there all afternoon.
Correct.
Before your husband got there, and you were complaining about him using drugs. Otherwise, you mean just out of nowhere? She says, how about taking a drug test? I mean, I've had gatherings at my house. We don't do that with regularity.
The main issue
That's
was
it.
infidelity.
That's all I have to hear. 3778, the rest for pain and suffering. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're finished. Thank you very much. Step out.
Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I want to see your marketing campaign.
So you want to see the logo?
That would be a start.
I did not bring a copy of the logo.
Ridiculous.
Next Judge Judy.
I think she was very fair in her...
Arrested for anything.
She has a problem putting her hands on me.
She is a major, major alcoholic and put her hands on me first.
And this is the last straw. She broke my nose. I do not choose to be friends with her any longer.
It's time to move forward, and I never want to speak to this woman again or see her.
Her cousin had high hopes for his visit.
You brought some goodies with you, some brownies that were laced with cannabis.
And I'd like the record to reflect that it wasn't for me.
But what happened?
It was in my luggage. The dog went inside of the luggage.
Was a real downer.
She was going to take the dog to the vet.
But the dog was behaving normally. It was kind of just laying there.
The dog was high.
This is Judge Judy. Tahara Wright is suing her cousin, Anthony Chambers, for vet bills, lost wages, and pain and suffering after her dog ate Anthony's marijuana-laced chocolates.
Your Honor, this is case number 4 on the calendar in the matter of Wright versus Chambers. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir.
Thanks, Bert.
You're welcome.
Miss Wright, this is your cousin, and according to what I read, he and his brother came to visit you as house guests over Memorial Day weekend. And it's a lovely
beautiful dog.
How long have you had the dog?
3 years. I rescued him. He was blind. He was getting beaten, so I rescued him. He's a very nice dog. Has a disability, but so cute.
Totally blind.
Totally blind, yes.
Do you know how old he is?
Yes, he's about 3, 4 years old. When I rescued him, the paperwork wasn't all together, because I adopted him. He was abused. His name's Graham.
Was his blindness a congenital condition, or was it the result of abuse?
The result of abuse, yes. And now he's still getting abused to this day. He's still getting abused to this day.
Why?
Because of my cousin.
Oh, well, we'll get to that in a minute. He's not being abused in your house, I assume.
Oh, no. I treat him with a lot of love,
Okay, very good. Let's not be over-dramatic.
Okay, no dramatics.
Understood? Got it?
Yes.
Good. It is your claim that your cousin, either accidentally or on purpose, allowed your dog to get control of a controlled substance, making the dog ill. You want him to be responsible for the vet bills that you incurred as a result of taking the dog the next day to the doctor. That's your claim.
Also wages and pain and suffering, and yes, it was actually on purpose.
Yeah. My pain, my suffering, you want your vet bills paid. Okay. On what date?
Let me see, excuse me. June 3rd. Oh, when he arrived.
Of this year.
What day did he come?
The Friday.
Just don't. I mean, we're not in a playpen here. We're in a court. I'm asking you a question. The questions get harder. On what date did your cousin arrive at your house?
That Friday. June 3rd, I took the dog to the vet, so that Friday before.
What was the date?
Does anyone have a calendar?
I'll wait until somebody gets a calendar.
You have a calendar? You have a phone? Oh.
I do.
Okay.
On what date did you arrive?
Yes, it was Friday, May 29th.
And who did you arrive with?
I arrived with the plaintiff's brother, Terrell.
You arrived?
I arrived.
You arrived?
Yes. We took the train down.
Did you and the plaintiff's brother stay in the same room?
Yes.
And how long were you intending to stay?
We were intending to stay until that Sunday, Your Honor, and we were having such a good time. We were exploring the city. We had been locked down due to COVID for a couple of weeks, and so we decided to extend our trip that Sunday.
Until what date?
Until June the 3rd.
Now, you brought some goodies with you, some brownies and stuff that were laced with cannabis. Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor, and I'd like the record to reflect that it wasn't for me.
That it wasn't for you?
Yes, I was bringing it back home to a friend. Here you go.
Now, on the 2nd of June...
Correct.
I'd like you to tell me what behavior you noticed in the dog that was different. Now, you had already been there, and I assume you knew the dog before.
Yes.
Yes. So... on the 2nd of June, you noticed that there was some different kind of behavior in the dog. I want you to describe it to me.
Well, there wasn't really any difference in the dog's behavior on June 2nd, Your Honor. The dog was just kind of sleeping and laying around. It kind of does that all the time, though.
Well, why did the plaintiff tell you she was going to take the dog to the vet?
Well, what happened, Your Honor, was on June 2nd, we were all in the kitchen, hanging out in the kitchen. I think we were probably eating lunch, and the plaintiff's brother walked into the bedroom where my luggage was. And I had my luggage there, and on top of the luggage were clothes, but inside the luggage there was a box of chocolate-covered raisins and marijuana-infused brownie. And the plaintiff's brother walked into the room and saw that the chocolate-covered raisins had been opened, and there were no chocolate raisins in the box. So we assumed that it was the dog. But the dog was, like I said, behaving normally. It was kind of just laying there the day on June 2nd.
Well, just...
The dog was high.
Okay. I'm not speaking to you.
Oh, okay, sorry. I just want to get it clear.
Not speaking to you. I'm not speaking to you in to take some candy out of luggage.
Right.
It's usually relatively neat.
Right.
When a dog goes in and rifles through, there's usually a mess.
Right.
So I assume that according to what you're telling me, the plaintiff's brother came in and said, looks like the dog got into your luggage.
Right, because there was a mess. There was the...
Is that what you said, sir?
Yes, but the candy wasn't in the luggage. It was on the luggage.
I object.
Okay.
She's not talking to you.
You want me to say goodbye to you? It'll be a pleasure. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you a dog owner?
No, I'm not a dog owner. There is a dog that lives in the house with me, though, in LA.
Well, you do know a dog eating chocolate can be a very dangerous thing.
Yes.
You do know that.
Correct.
And if there was nothing left of the chocolate-covered raisins, I would assume that you knew that the dog had consumed those raisins, right?
Correct.
And it would have been remiss if the plaintiff did not take her dog to the vet.
Your Honor, she didn't take her dog to the vet until the next day.
It would have been remiss if she did not take her dog to the vet.
Correct, but I feel like
to have the dog checked out.
Yes, but I feel like the vet wasn't going to do anything, which they didn't. They sent her home and told her to observe the dog.
Well, I don't, lady.
Yeah, she's a single lady.
And I assume doesn't have kids.
Nope.
Well, people view their dogs as their children, as they should.
Correct.
And if you have a young child that's gotten into something that is potentially lethal, you want to have that child checked out.
Correct. My question is, why would she wait till the next day?
Well, I don't know why she waited until the next day.
He told me not to take
I'm not speaking to you. I'm not speaking to you. That's not a question that's relevant. The question is, the only reason she took the dog to the vet is because you, either negligently or on purpose, left a potentially lethal substance where this dog could get it.
Your Honor, it was.
You are responsible for the vet bill.
May I submit, Your Honor, that it was in my luggage. The dog went inside of the luggage. This was in her home. She should be responsible. And, Your Honor, her dog has attacked people many times. And the plaintiff's brother can attest to that.
Listen to me. The dog did not attack you or your luggage. You're the person. The dog, who was blind, got into your luggage.
Right.
The dog does not look like a sleuth. The dog is a dog, a blind dog, and you left your luggage. It was underneath. It was left in such a manner. Pay attention, you're trying to speak to me. It was left in such a manner that the dog could consume it. You're responsible for the vet bill. Period. End of discussion. We're done. Hands down. What was the vet bill?
$450.
May I see it, please?
Yes. He had to have a lot of treatment done.
Just a second. Just don't. I didn't ask you a question. I just said I wanted to see it. $446. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. We're finished with everybody.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
She doesn't watch the dog. The dog went inside of my luggage.
He has tried to murder my dog on many occasions.
I don't know how the dog did that, but it went inside and opened it up.
Yes, I didn't know that he was going to have my feed it to my dog.
And we were in her home where she should have been responsible.
Or the raisins or the chocolate.
And she actually wants to give the dog away, and we can call her mom to verify that.
I love my dog. Look at him. He's so nice.
She doesn't even want to take care of the dog right now.
He eats the finest food, drinks the finest water from Fiji.
Like they say, money is the root of all evil. I hope this doesn't destroy our relationship.
Oh, no, he's not welcome at all, no, or you're going to see me back here.
All parties in the matter of Bad Heart Bull versus Panchal.
Bull is suing Jitendra Panchal for a refund for a fraudulent car sale.
Janice, how do you know the defendant?
I met the defendant, I would say, quite a few years ago when I had a 2011 Scion, and I bought some parts from him for that car.
So he's in the business?
As far as I knew, he works for United Airlines, and his hobby is rebuilding Scions.
You had nothing other than a business relationship with him?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you were looking for another car?
Correct.
In what month and year?
It was in 2019. I was looking. The month, I would say probably August. I called him to let him know that I would be receiving some money, and I was looking to buy another Scion. And since they don't make I just love them because it's like having a truck, but a car, because I can pack a lot of stuff in it, and I do a lot of artwork.
What do you do?
I do a lot of artwork, and so I just find things that inspire me.
And you had bought just parts from him before, never a car?
Correct.
When did he advise you that he had one? Also in August?
Yes, he told me he had one, but he needed to do work on it, and I told him I wasn't ready right away.
Did you go and see the car?
No, there was not an opening for that, because he was working on it as far as...
What do you mean there wasn't open?
He was a point, but he was repairing whatever, and I never saw the car until the day I purchased it.
And on what date did you purchase it?
I purchased in September of 2019.
Okay. And you paid $4,500 for the car.
That's incorrect. He charged me $5,000, and then I gave him another $500 on top of it because I didn't approve of the bodywork repairs he made that I was unaware of.
Okay, well, you say that you agreed on a price of $4,500 in your complaint.
Yes, we did.
I agreed to a price of $4,500 and received my loan.
Yes, and I do have the evidence and a phone call that we agreed to.
No, don't tell me the...
No, I'm saying yes. I asked for a car for $4,500.
Is that correct, sir?
The price was $4,500, and then I told her that the hood needs to be painted, and I had sent her pictures also. I have the evidence for that, also before and after.
Just a second. So she did, in fact, then give you $5,000?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Plus
and you took the car on what date?
He came and picked me up in September. No, I'm sorry. Date issue was 12/16 of 2019. That's when I took possession.
What?
Well, I'm looking at the...
When did she...
I'm confused on all the paperwork.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He may be the world's greatest scam artist. If you want to tell me bad things about him, I'll give you as much time as you like.
He swore to me that it had a clean engine, clean title.
Janice!
Yes, wait.
Pay attention.
Janice Badheart-Bull says Jitendra Panchal defrauded her regarding the sale of a car.
Now, do you have a bill of sale?
The bill of sale, I've already sent it, but I have an evidence where she signed the paperwork.
I just want to see a bill of sale.
I do not have a bill of sale.
I would like to see the bill of sale.
All I have is his check, the check that the bank wrote, a cashier's check to him, and his signature.
I just need a bill of sale for the car.
I have this evidence up here, if you can see.
He never gave me a bill of sales.
What is a statement of facts? What is that?
Statement of fact. It's a statement of fact that the car is sold as is, and I'm not responsible for any tickets or anything after that.
Well, I don't see that in a bill of sale, sir.
I've never seen that.
I don't see that.
This is always, whenever I bought a car, people have got this one signed for me also.
Well, I don't know about... That's nothing. Your statement of facts is nothing.
No, I never saw that.
Which tells you if you're clarifying anything regarding the car, if the car was damaged or anything like that.
Public Service Agency, completely appropriate. Okay. It's a used car. It's 11 years old. You took possession of the car in September of 2019. How long did you drive it?
I had it for 6 months.
And then it
was
stopped running?
It was 4,000 miles before it blew up.
So it blew up. You drove it for 6 months, and now you want your money back.
That's not what I wasn't. It's not a buyer beware. I have so much about him falsifying documents to the DMV, to my bank, and I even have the paperwork that he filled out, which falsified. He swore to me on this car that it had a clean engine, clean title. That's all I ever heard. Clean engine, clean title. I called him up, and this is how it went. It's like I'm on
Janice.
Yes.
Janice.
Yes. Wait.
Pay attention.
Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Please, this isn't right.
He did. What he did may not be right.
But how can you lie to the DMV? How can you lie to my bank? How
can you? Bad people do that.
And he's not responsible for anything?
Bad people do that.
Real cases, real people. Jitendra Panchal defrauded her regarding the sale of a car.
Now, Janice.
Yes.
You bought an 11-year-old car and you drove it for 6 months. Are you telling me that you didn't register it?
No, it was registered.
You just said. And it was registered in whose name?
It was registered in my...
When you were driving the car.
When I drove the car,
Janice.
Yes.
When you drove the car, it was registered in your name.
Correct.
Right. And you drove it for 6 months.
Right. But can we talk...
You don't get your money back.
It's not.
You don't get your money back.
It's not about the purchase of the car. It's the whole situation. He took advantage of an elderly. He lied from the very beginning. He promised to fix the work because I wasn't happy with it. He took off out of the country. He took the money and went out of the country, did not follow through with anything. I even have a phone message saying that we agreed to $4,500. He made it $5,000. He's like, oh, I gave you this, and he goes, I put on lifetime guarantee brakes. You got the rims. You got this. I go, I never asked for that.
Janice, he may be the world's greatest scam artist. You drove the car for 6 months. You bought an 11-year-old car. If you want to tell me bad things about him, just to get it all right, but you're not getting your money back for the car.
I'm trying to explain that it has more to do with than me purchasing the car and the car being bad. That's not what it's all about. What it's about is the whole agreement. I was honest and told him exactly what I needed. He swore to me that that car would last because I'm on a fixed income. I'm retired. And, you know, I tried to work with the car. I have evidence showing that I've spent a fortune on it getting repairs. I'm not even asking for that. All I'm asking for is to be reimbursed for the second car I had to buy I had to buy 2 cars in 6 months. And it's, you know, I mean, I have evidence showing where the odometer was turned back.
You don't have a claim against him.
But how can you...
Just listen.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
You don't have a claim against him.
But how can you...
Just listen.
Okay. Yes, I am.
You bought an 11-year-old car.
Right.
You registered it. You drove it for 6 months.
Technically, he registered it.
It had no guarantee. It had no warranty. That's what as a hobby fixes up cars. You have no recourse on what you're supposed to be if you're...
Okay.
I don't care what he told you. It's irrelevant.
It's not about what he told me. It's in writing to the DMV. It's in writing to my bank.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to show you.
We're done. Thank you very much. We're finished. We're finished.
No, I have everything, please. Please, this isn't right what he did. It's got nothing to do with
what he did may not be...
But how can you lie to the DMV? How can you lie to my bank? How can you?
Bad people do that.
And he's not responsible for anything?
Bad people do that.
And
Bottom line is,
he took more money.
You want your money back. You bought a used car that was 11 years old, and you paid reasonably for it because I've checked. I'm speaking because I checked the Blue Book value of the car and what they're being sold for. So for $4,500 or $5,000, it was a pretty good deal. Some of those cars are being sold for $7,000. Some are being sold for $8,000. I'm sure you know that you looked, because I did, and I'm no genius with the computer. So I was able to find out what they were. You bought a used car, 11 years old, you drove it for 6 months, you don't get any money back. We're done here.
Can I ask a question about the Carfax report?
No.
And the odometer turned back?
What part of we're done don't you understand, folks there?
This case is finished. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, their relationship was finally over, but he wasn't over it.
I tell him, get out of here. He rammed his truck into my vehicle.
That never happened.
Nope.
Judge Judy.
I was told it had 120,000 miles.
The car is sold as is. There's no warranty on the car.
He swore to me that it would last for 300,000 miles.
So if after 6 months anything happens to the car, I'm not responsible for it.
I was sitting at a stop sign and then it blew up, so...
The car title itself also says it's a clean title.
It lasted 4,000 miles.
It doesn't say it was a rollback or anything like that.
I guess you need to do your research and not trust people that you know.
The situation today is like, I don't know her anything.
It's frightening to be bitten by a dog. She had 5 stitches.
She demands a family pay top dollar.
For the suturing was $7,000.
Did you have insurance?
It didn't cover this.
But she's not up front.
What do your parents do for a living?
The plastic surgeon.
So your father performed the surgery?
Yes, he did.
Very bad form. Not good to do here, Miss Simone.
This is Judge Judy. 19-year-old Ariella Simone is suing Michael Sobolov and his son, 19-year-old Evan, for a dog bite that occurred during a party in their home.
Judge, this is case number 27 on the calendar in the matter of Simone versus Sobolev. Parties have been sworn in.
Ms. Simone, how old are you?
I'm 19.
And Mr. Sobolev, what's your son's first name?
Evan.
Evan?
Yes.
How old are you, Evan?
I'm 19.
Mr. Sobolev, you were not at home when your dog bit the plaintiff. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct, Your Honor.
On what date did this happen?
I'm not sure. I think it was August 4th or August 5th.
Is that correct, Ms. Simone?
No, it was August 3rd.
Of what year?
2019.
You left Evan alone in the house to watch the house, watch himself, and watch the dog. Am I correct, Mr. Sobolev? So you actually have no first-hand information about what happened on that day.
That's correct, Your Honor.
When did you leave?
We must have been gone.
If this happened on August 3rd.
I only found out today exactly when this happened. I think we were gone for a couple of days.
Do you remember where you went?
We were in New York for business.
Who's we?
My wife and I.
And where?
Yes.
So you flew to New York?
Yes.
Well, if you flew to New York, you had to have been gone more than 2 days. 1 day flying and 1 day coming back. And if you went there on business, you have to accomplish business. So that's at least another day.
Your Honor, it could have been 3 days.
Do you remember what day? Could have been. Do you remember what day of the week, Miss Simone, this happened?
I believe it was Saturday.
Okay. And you were there on what kind of business, Mr. Sobolev, in New York? What's the nature of your business?
Garment manufacturing.
Well, the garment district is closed on Saturday and Sunday. So if this was a Saturday evening that your son was having a gathering at the house and you went to New York, you had to be gone more than 3 days.
It probably was 3 days, Your Honor. Again, I wasn't sure about the exact date. The trade shows in New York are usually on Sundays and Mondays, and we go to New York for trade shows, or we did before COVID.
Okay, so Sunday and Monday, and you would have come home on Tuesday.
That's correct.
Okay, so let us say that you left on Saturday. Let's go over to Evan. Evan!
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a better memory of these events? Did your father and mother leave on Saturday or Friday?
They definitely didn't leave the day of, so I guess it was Friday or maybe a day before.
Either Thursday or Friday?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
When did you tell them that the dog had bitten the plaintiff? When they were in New York or when they came home?
It wasn't until months after the event occurred when I found out there was a lawsuit involved.
So you didn't tell them at all?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. And at the time, Evan, so this is a year ago, so on what date is your birthday?
August 21st, Your Honor.
So at that time, you were 17?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the plaintiff was 17, is that correct?
I must have been 18. Oh, no.
What do you mean you must?
Sorry, 17.
Right, you were 17. How many people, Evan, did you have over at the house on Saturday night?
I believe somewhere between 10 and 15 people, Your Honor.
And had you discussed with your parents when they were leaving that you were having a bunch of teenagers over at the house?
I told them I would be having friends over.
That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
You told me you'd be having friends over. Anything more specific than that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. At what time did you invite these friends over?
I believe it was around 7 or 8 p.m., Your Honor.
So you were having a Saturday night party. Did you specifically invite plaintiff, or was she brought by somebody else?
She was brought by someone else, Your Honor.
Were people supposed to bring their own alcohol, or did you just supply it?
I did not supply any alcohol, Your Honor. There was none in the house.
That's not my question. Oh. My question is, did you supply the alcohol?
No, Your Honor.
Or were people supposed to understand, Evan, that I have had 5 teenage children. I have 13 grandchildren, 11 of whom have or are currently teenagers. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. So my question to you is, did you supply the alcohol, or did the people bring their own?
The people brought their own, Your Honor.
Great. Did you supply the food, or did people supply their own?
I'm not 100% sure
if there was food. There's always food. Either you ordered it in or you had it. You know, most 17-year-old teenage boys. Well, Miss Simone, food. Was there food at this party?
I don't recall there being food, actually.
Pretzels, potato chips, munchies, anything? If there's nothing much to drink, nothing much to eat, what are we all doing at his house?
There was alcohol at the party, but there was no food. Of course there was. There was no, I don't recall there being food.
Well, not a very good party. Okay. I want you to tell me how it came about that Miss Simone was bitten, and there's no question she was bitten, and there's no question she was treated in a hospital, because she's going to show me proof of that, correct, Miss Simone?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
She was bitten by your dog. You have a senior dog?
We did, Your Honor. He passed away in October.
And the dog passed away. Okay, but she was senior back in August of 2000. So I'd like to tell me how it came about that Miss Simone was bitten by your dog. And what time did it happen?
I'm pretty sure it happened around 11 p.m. and...
Okay, so everybody's been there drinking for at least 2-3 hours, because it was called for 7 or 8, so now it's 11. So everybody, all the teenagers are all having a good time because parents are at a trade show across the country. 11 p.m. Go.
So most of the kids were on the lower deck of my backyard, and my dog, who was really...
What were they doing? They weren't eating?
No, standing around talking. Maybe a couple of them were drinking. And then...
And?
That's, I mean, there's a view you can see from that spot on the backyard, and only that spot, so we were just hanging out by the view.
Okay, well, tell me what happened with the dog.
So then the dog... He would usually try to stay by my side throughout the whole time my parents were away, but his legs weren't good enough.
Don't tell me what... I asked you what happened with the dog. I don't need a history.
So the dog started...
I just need what happened with the dog on the 3rd of August at about 11 p.m. with the plaintiff. I want you to tell me.
So the dog started whining because he couldn't go down the stairs, and because it was late, I was worried about him making noise and disturbing our neighbors. So I left the group that was hanging out on the deck of our backyard, him petting him, just trying to keep him quiet. And then that was when the plaintiff came over and she tried to pet the dog.
Came over from where?
The deck, where most of the people were.
You were downstairs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so she came up the stairs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, she didn't come over. She came up the stairs. And how many stairs are there?
There's one flight of stairs.
No, don't look down at anything. Hey, look here, right here. How many stairs are there that you went up to sort of keep the dog quiet? Was the dog barking?
He was whining.
So you went upstairs to comfort the dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the plaintiff came up after you?
Not right after.
Is that what you're telling me? How much after?
5 or 10 minutes. So I was already sitting down with the dog.
Up on the upper level?
Yes.
On the deck?
No, it was the deck is the lower level.
And what's on the upper level?
I guess that's the front part of our backyard. I guess that's where the door to our house is.
Okay, and who was with you there?
Me and then my friend Sol, and we were both. I was petting the dog, comforting, and Sol was sitting 2 or 3 feet away from the dog, and he was talking to me. And then that's when Ariella came over. Okay, so just you and your friend? Yes.
And she came up the stairs?
Yes, and then slightly towards the left, because we were to the left of this, and she tried to pet the dog, and as soon as her hand got close to his head, he snapped at her.
Okay, very good. May I see your medical bills, please?
Yes.
Mr. Sobolov, your son is seems like a very nice young man. You know, the one thing that you should never do unless you want to have this kind of problem is leave a teenager home alone for 4 days, knowing that their parents aren't going to be home. Very bad idea. The last time that happened, that I allowed my stupidity to take over, there were 4 boats that sunk in a harbor as a result of dinghies, not big boats, but dinghies, as a result of a bunch of teenagers acting stupid. You understand? You know, you just have to know and take that as part of a risk, that if you leave a teenager home alone, they can sniff out a parentless house better than a raccoon can sniff out fresh pizza. Okay, so you had $2,000, almost $3,000 worth of medical bills. Is that right?
Yes, so for the emergency room, it was almost $3,000.
Yes.
And then there was, for the suturing, it was $7,000.
Did you have insurance?
I do have insurance, but it didn't cover this.
Why?
The emergency room wasn't covered because Kaiser, but we went to Cedars-Sinai, and so it was out of network, so that wasn't covered. And then the surgical place I went to doesn't take the insurance I have.
Why didn't you go to a place that took the insurance that you had?
This was just most convenient for me.
I don't understand that. You have insurance through your family.
Yes.
You have insurance through your family through Kaiser?
Yes.
Let's be very, very careful with what you tell me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Who took you to the emergency room?
Another person at the party.
Why didn't you go home? Your father's a plastic surgeon. Why wouldn't you go home for your father to irrigate the wound? Why wouldn't you go home?
And later today.
Just show me where you sent him utility bills within 10 days of their accruing. Because what you say is, well, you said to him that you would just take it off his deposit. Well, you can't do that under your lease.
Ariella Simone says a dog owned by Michael Sobolov bit her during a house party thrown by his son, Evan.
Okay, what do your parents do for a living? You were a minor. What do your parents do for a living?
They're both doctors.
Where?
My mother, she works part-time as a dentist, and my father works as a plastic surgeon.
So let that your medical bills were uncovered. So that's not happening for you. But I do believe, sir, that you're responsible for her pain and suffering. So now I'd like you to tell me about what happened after you were bitten.
So, well,
how many stitches did you have?
I had just one set of stitches on my arm.
How many?
I have an image. I'm not sure about the exact number, but I could pull up that image.
I'd like to take a look at it.
All right.
But just a second. Can I see the name on that bill, please? On that bill, the last bill. International Advanced Surgical. Where is that located?
It's located in Beverly Hills.
And what's the name of the doctor who performed that surgery?
Simone.
So your father performed the surgery?
Yes, he did.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Yeah, very bad form. Very bad form. Not good to do here, Miss Simone. Can I see photographs of the injury? Okay, it looks like there were about 4 or 5 stitches. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And your father did that for you that day or the next day?
The next day.
Who washed off the wound?
My father, and once during at the emergency room, they irrigated it, and then also, again, my father.
Who took you to the emergency room?
Another person at the party.
Why didn't you go home? Your father's a plastic surgeon.
Yes.
Just a second. Your father's a plastic surgeon. Your mother go home for your father to irrigate the wound. Why wouldn't you go home?
I should have, but I wasn't thinking straight at the time, and the first thing we thought was just to go to the emergency room.
You have an old dog. She didn't do anything, according to your son, sir, that was aggressive towards the dog. It's frightening to be bitten by a dog. She had 5 stitches. I'm certainly not paying her father's bill for stitching her up. When you leave a kid home and there's drinking in the house, things happen. There's nothing that the plaintiff did that was aggressive. What she did here today was foolishness to not give me that information right up front. Very foolish. Judgment for the plaintiff for pain and suffering only in the amount of $1,500. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I went to pet the dog, and that's when the dog bit me.
This wasn't her first time at my house. She had been there the week before, and so she should have already known the drill.
I was not drinking because I actually drove there.
She was intoxicated.
If my father wasn't able to, I would have had to get it done anyway, and I would have had to pay for it anyway.
I mean, the whole story sounds very doctor to me.
All parties in the matter of Mandor versus Gresham, step to the podium, please.
Kevin Mandor is suing Stephen Gresham for the return of a security deposit for a used car lot he was renting from him.
Mr. Mandor, you leased a room.
That's correct.
Part of that retail space, according to what I read, is a parking lot.
Right.
And there was a building attached to that. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you sold cars out of that parking lot?
Yes,
and
Your
building?
Honor.
Used cars?
Yes, sir.
The annual rental on the property was what?
It started out at $5,500 a month and ended up at $6,000 a month. So around 60 plus thousand.
Was that pursuant to the lease?
Yes.
Okay. And you gave Mr. Grisham a $10,000 deposit when you signed the lease?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Is all that correct, Mr. Grisham?
It is, ma'am.
And I assume both of you have a copy of the lease?
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
I do.
Okay. Mr. Grisham kept some $4,700 of your deposit when the lease terminated. Up until that time, you had paid your rent.
Yes, Your
There
Honor.
is no claim that you had not paid your rent, so I assume you had paid your rent as a tenant. You moved out after the lease, and that's what you're suing him for, the $4,700. Correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, the defense that Mr. Grisham does not deny that he kept $4,700. This is his defense, that during the course of the lease, either the whole term of the lease or part of the lease, you didn't pay pursuant to the lease for trash, water, and...
No, he did pay electricity. They did pay except for the last July that they were there.
Just a second. Trash and water. So what you're saying is you kept his deposit because he didn't pay for trash and water.
Yes, and the last
Did you pay
the last month's electricity bill.
And how much was the last month's electricity bill?
$77.89.
Okay, $77. Hardly worth my time.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The lease says you have to give him notice within 10 days. What you did was
So
you
you're
waited
saying that
until
I have
the
to give
whole
him
lease
notice
was
for
over.
36
I don't,
months?
just a second. Absolutely. That's what your lease says. I assume that you wrote the lease.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kevin Mandor says Stephen Gresham is wrongfully withholding a security deposit for a used car lot he rented from him.
Now, so that the majority of what you are claiming is for trash and water.
Correct.
The majority of what you're claiming is for trash and water. Were trash and water included in his lease? Was they mentioned in his lease?
Yes, it is that he has
Were
to pay.
trash? I'd like you to show.
6, ma'am.
Would you put it over there, sir?
Can you see it?
6. Landlord will calculate the utility bill for 12 months. Tenant will be... I can read it. You can take your finger away.
Sorry.
Well, sir, can you tell me what months you are claiming that you gave him the bills that he didn't pay? You're supposed to let him know within 10 days of the utility charge. That's what it clearly says here.
Right, and I did
you
do.
give
Right
him
from the
monthly
beginning.
Did you?
Right from the beginning.
Well, just show me where you sent him utility bills within 10 days of their accruing, because what you say is, well, you said to him that you would just take it off his deposit. Well, you can't do that under your lease. But what you have to do is you have to show me that you had utility bills other than this $79 that he didn't pay and that you gave him notice of.
I did give him notice.
Over a 3-year period.
It was tension all the time.
Show me that you gave him notice over 3 years.
The water bills and the trash
No, don't show
bills.
me the bills.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Have You Been Cheated? Go to and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I want you to do is show me the notices that you sent to him.
He got one notice at the beginning,
that's what the
and it
lease
brought
said.
so much tension that I didn't want to argue. I just let it go. He wasn't going to pay
Oh,
it.
you just let it go. You have to return his $4,700 to him. You have to give him notice pursuant. I don't care whether you disagree or not, so that's what the lease says. The lease says you have to give him notice within 10 days. What you did was
So
you
you're
waited
saying that
until
I have
the
to give
whole
him
lease
notice
was
for
over.
36
I don't.
months?
Just a second. Absolutely. That's what your lease says. I assume that you wrote the lease. I assume that either you or your lawyers wrote the lease.
Correct.
And it says you have to give him notice 10 days from the breach. And what you did was say, listen, I don't care. I got 10 grand of his money.
He told me to take it out of the deposit. He wanted to pay me at the end of the
Did you tell him
lease.
to take out of the deposit?
No, Your Honor. I have evidence to the contrary.
Okay.
That's not true.
$4,700. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Bye.
This case is done. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Did you change the lock?
I never change the locks. I took his key.
Don't talk nonsense to me.
I want to choose my words wisely.
If I were you, I would choose them very wisely.
Judge Judy.
I was the defendant. I had to defend myself.
He literally ran us out of there.
No comment.
It was terrible for 3 years. Just terrible.
No comment, sir.
It was kind of like this for 3 years.
Thank you.
Which is why I moved on.
The band he hired rocked.
Did Mr. Phillips pay you?
He wrote 2 checks to us.
Then he rolled.
Both checks bounced?
Can you not say the word bounced again, please?
Say what bounced?
Time to face the music.
I was doing this for charity.
He's not doing it for charity. You knew that there were insufficient funds. Do you know that's a felony?
This is Judge Judy. Musician Daniel Hernandez is suing event promoter Lawrence Phillips for money owed for a performance and bank fees.
Judge, this is case number 23 on the calendar in the matter of Hernandez versus Phillips. Parties have been sworn in. You may have a seat.
Mr. Hernandez, it is your claim that the defendant owes you the balance of a contractual obligation that you had with him for you to perform with a band at a venue where he was hosting an event.
That's correct.
According to you, you did the work, bounced. He did pay you some money. He still, according to you, owes you several $1,000s. And you've tacked on the bank fees for the return checks,
Correct.
which was about $30.
Yeah.
So far,
Yes.
is that in a nutshell what it is?
Yes.
You indicate in your complaint, Mr. Hernandez, that you have a day job, which is not playing with a band. What is your day job?
I work for a HVAC company.
And how long have you been doing that?
18 years or so.
And how long have you had this little side hobby of the band?
This particular band, about 3 years, but I've been playing my whole life.
And did you form this band?
It was a conglomeration of two bands that we were all friends, and we just played one time together as a favor at an event in Riverside, and we just thought, this is pretty amazing. Let's keep doing this, and we've been together ever since.
How did you meet the defendant?
Through a mutual friend.
Can you tell me what month and year that was?
A couple years ago, not the month exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this gig that you got involved with, can you tell me when you were supposed to perform with your band and what the financial arrangement with the defendant was?
The actual performance was September 28th of last year, and we were to provide the band and also to contract for the staging and the lighting and the sound.
Deal with that part of the claim first, because that's also in this claim.
Sure.
You did contract with the staging, lighting, and sound. How much was that?
In my part, the staging, lighting, and sound was apparently $4,000 altogether. However, I took care of $2,000 for our sound guy because there was a check made out to him as well that had bounced that Mr. Phillips made out.
And that's your witness?
Correct. Oscar.
So he has proof of a bounce check from Mr. Phillips as well. And that was for the September 28th?
Well, yeah, because it was that same date. Yeah, the same performance.
Okay. And what were you supposed to be paid?
$1,500.
So the band was supposed to be paid $1,500 for the evening?
Correct.
Did the band perform that evening?
We did.
Did Mr. Phillips pay you?
He wrote 2 checks to us.
And in what amount were those 2 checks?
In the amount of $750 each.
Did he give you those 2 checks before or after the performance?
He gave me 1 check before, about a day or so before the performance, and then another check the day of the performance.
Before the performance?
Correct.
Do you have proof of their being dishonored by your bank?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Okay.
And that it was dishonored?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Band deposit. Where's the other check? Okay. Why were the checks returned, Mr. Phillips?
First of all, Your Honor, this event...
Not first of all. No, my words. Why were the checks returned?
They were returned because there was no money to cover them. Because I did this event as a charity event.
Just a second.
And I was waiting for sponsorship
Mr. Phillips,
to cover the checks. Yes,
Mr. Phillips. Mr. Phillips.
Yes,
You wrote checks on a bank when you knew that there were insufficient funds.
No, that's not.
Do you know that's a felony? Do you know
I've
that
never
that's
had
a
a
felony?
felony in my life, and I understand what you're saying.
What I'm telling
this
you,
event was
what I'm
for a
telling you,
charity
Mr.
event.
Phillips, I don't care. It's not important to me.
Oh, okay.
What the event was for. You hired the plaintiff for a certain fee, which was $1,500.
Yes.
And you gave him 2 bad checks. You can't do that.
I'm aware of that, and I do apologize.
Good. That's
to him.
perfect. Great. So, Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Phillips did give you some money, correct?
Correct.
How much did he give you? Eventually.
Right. $950. $350 in one payment and $600 in another one.
So he owes you...
The check that I had that was no good as well from him. There's a total of 3 bad checks.
Well, how much were you supposed to be paid? You showed me 2 checks.
Correct.
One said $750 deposit, and it said balance $750.
Correct.
That's the evidence that you produced. What is this other check for?
Okay, so the other check was another check that was paid to Oscar, and the check wasn't any good. So it was another check for $2,000. And because I deal with Oscar, I told him, okay, give the check to me and I'll try to work it out with LP, Mr. Phillips. And so he did, and this check was also no funds available. So I actually paid Oscar.
So you covered him. Did Mr. Phillips agree to reimburse you for that?
Correct, he did.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. When did Mr. Phillips agree to reimburse you for that?
In conversations after the event.
Well, tell me about the conversations. Then I'm going to ask Mr. Phillips.
In my conversations, they were basically promises to pay with different dates.
No, he owes you, clearly he owes you $550.
Right.
The only question is, does your friend, who is your witness, have to pursue Mr. Phillips on his own? Or did Mr. Phillips agree to you covering that?
It was a verbal conversation that we had.
Well, tell me when and where it took place.
Probably.
On the phone, in person?
Yes, on the phone. And we just made an agreement that he would pay everything that he owed me, including that.
He paid you $950. He only owes you $550. Mr. Phillips, did you write another bad check for the audio people?
Yes, I did. I presented a check. Once again, this is a charitable event, and I had sponsors that promised me to give me money, and I wrote that check with the intent that I was going to get the money that night.
Mr. Phillips, try just to pay attention to my questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you and Mr. Hernandez agree that he would make good this check for $2,000? I'm going to repeat that. That's a very simple question. Did you and Mr. Hernandez agree that Mr. Hernandez would make good on this bounce check to the stage guy for $2,000?
Can you not say the word bounced check again, please?
Well, they were bounced. They were the insufficient funds. That's a bounced check.
Okay, I understand.
Did you agree with Mr. Hernandez? Did you ask him to make good on that check and you would pay him?
He requested that of me, yes.
On the phone?
On the phone. Sponsorship money to come in, and it didn't, and I agreed.
So then the answer is you did ask Mr. Hernandez to cover.
He told me what he was going
to. The $2,000 check. And you said, then I will give it to you when I get my sponsor's money.
Those are my exact words. Yes, ma'am. I did say that.
Fine. Very good. Then you owe him $25.50. Judgment for the plaintiff. Oh, excuse me. Do you have proof of your bank charges?
Yes.
I'd like to see them. Put them up.
You don't even want to see what I was going to show you about the stage?
No, I don't. I don't like people who write checks on bad accounts.
Well, no, it was not a bad account. It was a good account. My sponsor just didn't give me the money. I was doing this for charity, for the Gay Pride, Whittier Gay Pride. I did it pro bono, trying to get sponsorship, Your Honor.
You can do it.
Actually,
he's not doing it for charity.
I know he wasn't.
He's not doing it for charity. That's your charity. Okay, just a second. So how much did they charge you?
They actually charged me
$5. Oh.
Yeah, that on one, and then...
And? The other?
That one.
So they charged you $10 altogether?
Yes.
Is that correct?
It is correct.
$25.60. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you. By the way, nice meeting you.
This case is concluded.
And you.
Parties are excused.
Wrote some...
it's called a faith check.
Took them, thought they were good. A couple days later, got...
And all of a sudden, it didn't happen, but...
Noticed that they bounced.
Oh, you can take faith to the bank, but you got to have a little bit more than faith. You got to have that money in the hand, baby.
And from then on, it was just...
He's an incredible performer, and...
Can you pay me? And it went on for almost a year now.
You know, it happened the way it happened. I'm sorry it did.
It was amazing performance. My band Remix, incredible.
Thank God it's over.
All parties in the matter of Anders versus Warfield. Step to the podium, please.
Derek Anders Jr. is suing his former friend, Trevin Warfield, for stealing his stimulus money from his bank account.
Mr. Anders, you and Mr. Warfield were friends?
Yes, before.
And at some point, according to your papers, you received a stimulus check from the government in the amount of $1,200.
Yes, on April 27th.
How were you advised that you got that check?
Through the IRS. On my Cash App.
Do you have that Cash App with you so that I can see it?
It's an app. I have it on right here.
I'd like to take a look at it. Just put it up on the evidence screen.
For sure.
Thank you. Is that the only proof that you had that you got this stimulus check?
Yes. I also have a direct deposit of $1,200.
Of what?
A direct deposit in the...
In what bank was it deposited?
It's Cash App. It's an app on your phone. That's basically the bank that I was deposited from.
Is that the way you pay your taxes, sir?
I don't think so, no. I wouldn't use Cash App for my taxes.
Well, how did they know to find you to give you $1,200?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your Honor, we were friends for 8 years. I've never stolen a dime from him.
Mr. Warfield?
Yeah.
He's going to tell me what evidence he has that you took his stimulus money. I'm breathless, Mr. Anders.
Derek Anders Jr. says former friend Trevin Warfield appropriated stimulus money from his bank account.
Well, how did they know to find you to give you $1,200?
Yeah, I used my routing and account number and put it on the website.
So you went on the IRS website.
Yes.
Speak to me. Talk to me. I have to understand how this works.
Yeah, for sure. I went on the IRS website.
And
I put in my routing and account number, and then they sent the money over on Cash App, on my Cash App. And so, yeah.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an entrepreneur.
What does that mean? I mean, I know...
An entrepreneur. I'm a singer, songwriter, model, mogul, dancer, performer. I go, different places to try to make a living for myself. So basically, it's just, it's like entrepreneurship, like going out and doing what you want to do for your life and not having to worry about, like, actually...
Well, tell me the things... Who do you live with?
Right now, I'm currently just living at home right now with my family.
Who is your family?
Different people. I have, like, different family members. So many different family members that I have.
No, I want to know who you're living with now.
Right now, I'm, like, where I'm living, well, with my mom or, like, my mom, my stepfather, I have a stepbrother, I have so many relatives.
That's not a hard question, sir.
Yeah,
if
for sure. It's just a personal question.
Who are you living with? And you said family. It's not a personal question if you're living with family. I just ask you what family you're living with. It's not a hard question. I live with my mother, I live with my brother, I live with my sister. That's not a hard question, sir.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just trying to find out who my players are. Okie dokie. And according to you, and this evidence that you brought into me, you say that Mr. Warfield somehow appropriated $1,100 of your $1,200 stimulus money that was put in the bank by the IRS. Because I assume you did that because you are currently undomiciled, so they can't send you a check. So PayPal or what is it, Cash App. Whatever. So tell me what makes you believe, what evidence you have, Mr. Anders, that Mr. Warfield, who was once your friend, took $1,100 of your stimulus check.
Yeah, we
from
were
your
close friends.
entrepreneurships.
Your Honor, we were friends for 8 years. I've never stolen a dime from him.
Yeah.
I've never stolen a dime from him.
That's untrue, Your Honor.
Mr. Warfield.
Yes.
He's going to tell me what evidence he has that you took his stimulus money. I'm breathless, Mr. Anders.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I received threatening text messages from him, and Mr. Anders was just calling me all types of names and things like that, and it was ridiculous. And it just got really insane. I had to block him and cut off all communications with him.
Well, what did he say to you when he called 2 months later?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Derek Anders Jr. says former friend Trevin Warfield appropriated stimulus money from his bank account.
So tell me what makes you believe, what evidence you have, Mr. Anders, that Mr. Warfield, who was once your friend, took $1,100 entrepreneurships.
Your Honor, we were friends for 8 years. I've never stolen a dime from him.
Yeah.
I've never stolen a dime from him.
That's untrue, Your Honor.
Mr. Warfield.
Yes.
He's going to tell me what evidence he has that you took his stimulus money. I'm breathless, Mr. Anders.
Yeah, I have evidence right here. It says this is the name that he goes by online. I guess it's called Little Hoochie Daddy. And we've been knowing each other for so long. That's his username on, I guess, Instagram or even on Cash App. That's the name that he goes by. And it says I have more evidence right here that says that he took it. It says payment to Little Hoochie Daddy. So you know that he took the money. It says payment to himself. I used his phone. He got my login information and just basically used my account. So, I mean, when you think you're friends with somebody and they use your account and then they just, I guess he sent it to himself when I didn't know. I don't know. He logged in without my knowledge. That's the reason why I'm here. So my money was stolen.
I know the reason you're here, sir. I'm looking for proof that he took your money.
Right here it says payment to...
I see it. That's not proof he took it.
Well, through Cash App, you can send it to yourself. So, I mean...
Mr. Warfield.
Yes,
did Mr.
Your Honor.
Anders confront you about taking his money?
Mr. Anders did confront me. He confronted me 2 months later after the fact. I received threatening text messages from him in Florida. And Mr. Anders was just calling me all types of names and things like that, and it was ridiculous. I was at the airport arguing with him, and it just got really insane. I had to block him and cut off all communications with him.
Well, what did he say to you when he called 2 months
He
later?
was like, Trevin, I seen your name on my Rev receipt. You stole my money. You're this, you're that. And I'm like, Derek, I have no reason to steal anything from you. We've been friends for 8 years. And for him to just accuse me of stealing his money is just completely ridiculous, Your Honor. I have no reason to steal from anybody.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Warfield?
I'm a nursing assistant.
You traveled from California to Florida?
No, I went to Florida for the 4th of July to go visit an old friend. I have a vacation house there, and so I went there to do some remodeling on it, some painting.
How long have you had the house there?
Since 2014.
Do you own that house in Florida?
No, I don't own it. Mm-mm.
Who does own it?
My friend owns it.
You said you were doing remodeling.
Yeah, I was helping him paint.
How long were you in Florida?
I was in Florida from July 4th through July 6th. Monday morning, I flew back to San Diego.
So you were just there for 1 day?
I was there for 2 days. I got there Saturday, July 4th, and flew back home July 6th.
And you helped him paint in that
Sunday Fun Day project we did.
It's a long trip.
Well, it was worth it to see friends and things like that. So some things you just do for friends.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Want Justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Mr. Anders, you have any other proof that Mr. Warfield took your money?
That's all besides his username, I mean.
Okay. I don't know whether he took your money or whether he didn't take your money. He says he didn't. I'm not satisfied with the proof that you
I also have another,
shown me.
some more proof.
Well, then tell me. I'm ready to say goodbye to you.
The same proof that I showed you before is
Don't show me the
cash
same
out.
proof you showed me before. Don't show me the same proof you showed me before. I saw your proof. You said you also have other proof.
Yeah, it was like it says, the 28th, the money was stolen, and on the 27th, the money was deposited.
We're done.
So, okay, yeah, obviously.
We're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
You thought it would be fun to start a YouTube channel.
He wasn't paying me half for all of the things that I put into the channel.
This was her first priority, is YouTube.
Well, I'm very, very satisfied. Judge Judy did not believe him, as you can tell.
I think it was upsetting to me due to, having hard times and not being able to, make ends meet.
He was a complete fool on national TV.
And, the money was put into my account, obviously on Cash App. I don't know if she knows what Cash App is.
All he does is lie, and he's just ridiculous.
But anyways, that's how I feel. And even if it was money's nothing but paper ink, like my grandma used to tell me.
To be honest, I really think he went out and partied with the money, which is ridiculous.
But at the same time, I do feel upset that the money's still not there.
Well, sometimes people get where they need money, and they will